Babe, what watch are we wearing today?
6239, 1964 Pre Daytona.
Why do some vintage watches cost more than others? What makes them so special? It's the Grand Prix week in Montreal, and we're happy to make this video to celebrate and talk about the most iconic vintage watches in the motorsport world. I'm Jackie from Time Merchants. Thank you guys for your positive feedback on my previous video. I really enjoyed it, and I'm still learning about watches. And this week is the Grand Prix in Montreal, and I would love to talk to you about these watches that have made history. Today we will talk about vintage chronographs that are very sought after in the watch community. We will not talk about how much they cost. We will share with you how they became legendary and also highlight their features. Ready, set, go! I bet you don't know, but this watch was made to order. It's a Heuer Carrera 2447 that was commissioned by Volvo. Carrera means race in Spanish. It was not associated to a famous racer. It's a rare stainless steel chronograph that was made for the Volvo board of directors in the 1970s. This watch was made before TAG, Technique d'Avant-Garde, acquired Heuer in 1985. What's interesting about this watch is that the Volvo logo is actually placed where we typically see the Heuer shield. So they signed Heuer at the 6 o'clock subdial. Less than 30 of these watches actually appeared on the market so far. That's why it's one of the rarest Heuers out there. This chronograph is very nice to wear because of its size. The case is 35.5 millimeters. And what's really special about this watch is that no one really realized what it is until they have a closer look to the dial. Sorry guys, I had to change seat because of the lighting. So moving on, the next watch on the table is the Omega Speedmaster 105-00262. We hear a lot about the moon watch, the Speedmaster, but we don't know so much about what precedes it. And this one is actually the predecessor of the 8-white watch that was worn in space in 1965. This pre-moon watch has attributes and characteristics of a 2998 with metal pointy hands instead of white painted stick hands. The dial is signed at the bottom Swiss without T. T meaning tritium. However, it still used tritium as the luminous material. Now let's talk about the movement. The movement is actually a modified 2310 Le Mania. Omega call it as well the caliber 321, which was used until 1968. This one, compared to the previous watch we presented, is the case measured 39 millimeters. Our next one, last but not least, is the Paul Newman's Cosmograph 6239. So the Rolex Daytona 6239 was introduced in 1963, and it was then called Le Mans, as in the 24-hour race. It is not until 1964 that the name changed to Daytona, Daytona as in the race in Florida. And at that time, Daytona appeared on the dial. And then a year later, in 1965, exotic dials actually appeared, and it was called Paul Newman, who is named after the famous American actor and car racer. This watch is very well known by collectors and amateurs of watches because of its historical significance, its association with the motorsport world, and also for its unique design. One little fact about the Paul Newman's Daytona watch is that it was a gift from his wife, and she had it engraved "Drive carefully." The term Paul Newman Daytona is actually reserved for specific references and exotic dials that really resemble the Newman's watch. It has an Art Deco style with contrasting dials, also known as panda or reverse panda. Pump pushers from the chronograph actually is allowing you to time precisely for different racing activities. Another thing is that the Heuer and the Rolex Daytona share a variant of the movement Valjoux 72. And the case of this watch is slightly bigger than the Heuer. It's actually 36.5 millimeters. For many, the Paul Newman watch is the one and only holy grail. It does actually look good whether it's on a metal bracelet or a leather strap, just as the way that Newman used to wear it. One thing that really caught my eyes is the Art Deco style of the dial, and I think it's elegant and simple. So now guys, you know what makes those watches special, and whether you're trying to, race for the moon or become the greatest salesman or the fastest car racer, those watches made history and will transcend in time. At Time Merchants, we love stories behind watches, so please share with us the story of your watch. Leave it in the comments. Now that I've already talked about the technical aspects of these watches, I'm going to tell you which one is my favorite. It's a very hard one to say, but I do have to admit the Daytona, the Rolex Daytona Paul Newman is actually the one that caught my eye, and that's really because of the simplicity, the size of it, the elegance of the Art Deco style. This is really something that I'm very fond of. I personally also own vintage and Art Deco style, so this is something that really is close to me. But at the same time, I feel like in this video we wanted to celebrate motor sports world, and so I thought this Volvo Heuer Carrera Volvo is actually a really nice watch, and I think it's nice to see a collaboration between car manufacturer but also watch industry. For the Speedmaster, I find it's such a great thing to know that they are models that really came before the moon watch. And I think in the vintage community, to know that there is this kind of watch that precedes it, it's interesting to know, and maybe one day you'll be the lucky one to have it. All the three watches are really great, and the most important things that we want to show here is that regardless of the price and what's out there and the hype, is just to understand what makes them so special and how come they were worn before us. For those who are curious, I'm wearing today the Rolex Pre Daytona made in 1964. I also really like the look of it. The only thing I must say is that I have a very small wrist, but I do think it's really a good size for, I would say, an average wrist. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
Hey guys, so I wanted to add something to the video of today. As you can tell, Jackie's just starting to learn more about technical stuff about watches. So, regardless of what people think monetary-wise, we are trying to go above and beyond, and Jackie's will learn as much as you will at the same time. Most watches are attributed a certain value before even talking about what they are and what they mean to the industry. That's why those three watches that were borrowed from a friend of mine and the Speedmasters and the watch collection right now are really important to actually understand that these made history and they made watches what they are today. And a lot of those watches are recreated today in a very modern fashion using what they already did. So you cannot really do what was already done 30, 40, 50 years ago, or even earlier than that, I'd say. And those watches were the first ones and the most important ones of this era of racing towards anything that you want. It's very important to put that aspect way before the value of a watch, because history is what all of these are about. It's not about monetary value. Monetary value, we know what it is. We don't need to teach people only about value. So if you have a heirloom from your parents or grandparents and you feel like it's a very important watch to you, I wouldn't put a monetary value. A lot of people come to me and ask me, what is it worth? And I'm asking them in return, is it for sale? And they're telling me no, but I just want to know. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You're not selling the watch. So keep the watch. It's something that you're going to enjoy. It's something that you're really going to cherish in your family. And you're going to share the story of your parents or grandparents that were using that watch in a certain, maybe specific context. So for me, that's more important than anything else that goes along with those watches. So let me know what you think. If Jackie did a good job, let me know. I love what she does, and we're gonna try to add more of that content together, and we're gonna try to do something a bit different every single time. So again, subscribe, let us know what you think, and we're gonna try to do something different every time. Thank you.